Hi, it's Heather with R-Rated Everything today. This is going to be like a catch-up video because I have some of the most exciting news that I think I may ever have. And Stitch is gonna stop it. Okay, I have to pet my cat. Because if I don't pet my cat, he's just gonna keep pawing at me. So it might be some of the most exciting news that, at least thus far, in my life, aside from having children, which, depending on what day you ask me, is not that fucking exciting. And I will get to that. This is going to be like a little bit of a catch-up video, because I have some funny stories that are funny now that were not funny at the time, and more like par for the course kind of things. So my washing machine works. I think I may have mentioned, I don't know, I went to a fundraiser like a week ago, and my small parts mechanic, who's the drummer in a band, was playing at the fundraiser. And he's actually the band that's hired for my client appreciation barbecue I think it's in 2 weeks. So if I do videos of the client appreciation barbecue, you guys will get to see him, because I'm sure I'll put some clips of music up. This will go, I'm going to be all over the fucking place. So the drummer in the band was the guy that I sort of maybe made fun of like a year ago in an old video when I was doing reviews on dating, and how I wasn't sure if he pissed himself. So, and I think I have his number at this point. I couldn't figure out what it was that was off, because I hadn't experienced it before. But from a bird's eye view, I have figured out, I believe he's a gigolo. Because that's not my business to even share. But I'm going to show you guys so much stuff coming up. So anyhow, when I was at that benefit, and by the way, I went to this benefit because it was for a couple whose house burned down. And the drummer was telling me that their insurance wasn't paying or something like that. I went nuts. I'm like, what do you mean the insurance isn't paying? I'm like, I have been told I will forget more than some people will ever know about insurance. I said, I will help them. I said, there's no way, unless they had a shitty policy, and if they did, then go after the agent. These people threw themselves a fucking benefit. And then when I asked them about their insurance, I said, I will help you. Let me see your deck pages. I said, if you give them permission to talk to me, I said, I will run them through the ringer. I said, I don't ever want to see people put claims through on stuff that they're not supposed to have covered, because it causes everybody's fucking rates to go up, and we all pay too much for insurance to begin with. But if you're paying for coverage and you have a covered loss legitimately, I can't stand when I see an insurance company drag their feet or not pay it. So I was going there to help them. The drummer gave me a ticket. So I'm like, how much is the ticket? And he goes, don't worry about it. Here's your ticket. So when I got there, this girl at the door, who I'd met a couple of times at like different places out when I went to go see the band play, she doesn't wear a bra and hugs me really tight. And it makes me very uncomfortable. She was at the door, and she started squealing and physically jumping up and down. I can't believe you're here. I'm so excited you came. I'm like, what is she fucking talking about? Jumping up and grabs me in this long, tight, bouncy hug with her fucking titties on me. And I'm like, she's like, oh, this is where you pay. I'm like, well, what do I do with this? I have this ticket. Oh, well, did you pay? And I'm like, well, I got the ticket from Al. Well, did you give him money for it? And I'm like, no. And she said, well, it's $20 per person and $30 for a couple. So I give her $20. I didn't realize at the time, she's the one whose house burned down. So I'm talking to some guy who I know it's his house. I just didn't realize that they were together. And I said, did you bring your deck pages? Because Al was so-and-so was supposed to call you and tell you to bring them so I could see them. I said, you guys don't have insurance coverage? He's like, no, we do. They're just sort of like, they're dragging their feet or something. And I'm like, they're living in a friend's house. I'm like, you're supposed to have loss of use coverage. And he's like, oh, you got to talk to her about that. She takes care of all that. He didn't know anything about it and didn't want to talk about it. So when I saw her, I realized, I'm like, wait, who? I'm like, oh, the one who's at the door collecting money at her own benefit? So I said, I was an insurance agent. I said, I want to help you with with your claim. I said, I'm not licensed anymore. I have nothing to gain. I said, but you need to have this covered. And she didn't really want to answer. She's like, oh, I said, if you don't have good coverage and it wasn't explained to you, then your broker or your agent has E&O insurance, because they should have educated you before choosing a policy if you have a shitty one. If you have good coverage, then I can help you go after the insurance company. And she's, oh, they didn't want to answer. They have coverage. They have insurance coverage. And whether the insurance company's dragging their feet, I guarantee you it's because they're not submitting receipts or following policy and procedure. I didn't even get that far into it after that. I was like, fuck you. You threw your own benefit when you have an insurance policy. Fucking public mooches. I was disgusted. In the meantime, I see this guy go walking by, and he's got this neon shirt that says such and such electric and construction. And he goes off to the side to light a cigarette. I'm like, oh, good, I don't have a lighter. And he smokes. Let me go and ask him if he's an electrician, because everything in my house is getting zapped. I have I'm using my robot vacuum on the first floor because I don't have any vacuums. I said, are you an electrician? And I said, you got a light? You're an electrician? He's like, yeah. He has his own company. His father is a world-renowned electrician. Like, I verified it. He has 3 of the 4 highest levels of training and certification you can get, like much like my cousin in Colorado. And he travels the world teaching electricity, whatever. And he's like, and I have 2 of the 4. My father has 3. He said, I've been working with my father since I was 5. It's Saturday, mind you. He's like, I'm telling him about the issues at the house. He said, I'll come to your house tomorrow. I'm like, on Sunday? I'm like, it's not an emergency call. He's like, no, it's okay. He comes up 6'4", and I mentioned him in another video. He drinks too much, because when he came to my house on Sunday, he had a worker with him, a helper, and I couldn't believe the guy's rate for how good he is. His rates were like ridiculously low, and he got a bunch of stuff done outside of electrical also. I couldn't figure out which one of them reeked of a distillery, like just oozing out of their pores. I thought it'd be the helper. It wasn't. It was the electrician. Anyway, he fixed my washing machine. It turns out that the fucking thing was hooked up backwards. Like, for how long? Like, the last people didn't know? The only reason why it would wash on hot only is because the hoses were backwards. And it has a safety on it that it won't let you run cold if it's being fed hot water. And that's why it wouldn't run on cold. My washer now works. In the meantime, when he goes to fix that, he has to turn the water off under the utility sink. And of course, the shutoffs, which surprisingly were there, didn't work and broke. So the water's leaking all over the floor. I have to replace the shutoffs under the sink. So he turns off. He tells his assistant to turn the well pump off. And I'm like, really? I don't really want you to turn my well pump off. Like my gut is telling me something bad is going to happen. Well, he fixes all my electric. He did like a bunch of shit. He replaced 3 bad breakers that day and said he would come back the following week. Nothing's grounded. He said he would ground everything, swap out all my 2-prong outlets for 3-prong. He's going to hang all of my fixtures. I got a ceiling fan for the living room. It came in. I'll show it to you. And he's putting additional outlets in the barn for me for the workshop and the band. He's going to put lights on everything. And we're flirting with each other. I mean, he's a good-looking guy, 6'4", but I'm like, he called me one night. Anyway, before I get there, they shut the water off, the pump to the well. They shut it off. Now, that is this pipe that runs through the garage in PVC that is wrapped in like insulation and an electrical wire to keep it warm in the winter. And I'm like, don't fuck with this thing. So they turn the well pump off. They fix the pipes and everything, the washer. And he tells his assistant to turn the breaker back on for the well pump. And as soon as he does, the pipe practically explodes in the garage. And gallons of water are shooting everywhere, all over the place. And I just I'm like, wow! He's like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. He rips the insulation off to see what the hell is going on and says, holy fuck, no way. He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, what? He goes, Don't worry, I got this. I got this. They needed new hose clamps. I had hose clamps. Gave them to him. They installed the pipes. Plumbers out there, you're going to fucking love this, and I'm going to attach a photo. Wait till you fucking see it. They attached my pipes from the well pump with zip ties. 2 zip ties in one spot here and 1 zip tie here at a 90-degree elbow. And it was so loose, he's like, I can stick my finger. He was pulling. He's like, look, this isn't supposed to do this. He's like, I can't believe it lasted this long. I said, probably because it's never been shut off and it's been a steady flow. I said, but you shut it off. And as soon as you turned it on, the pressure made it burst. So we put hose clamps on it and it's fixed. It was like the most horribly fantastic day because anything that could have gone terribly wrong did. But the fact that he was here made it all okay because he fixed all of it. And now my washing machine works. And it really is a shame because he's a likable guy. But he called me one night and 2 hours and 17 minutes on the phone. And I didn't talk much. I couldn't. He's very quiet at work, doesn't say anything. But all I heard every 5 minutes was crack, crack, crack. He was belligerent, obnoxious, full of shit. And I told someone in the live video I did, they asked me if I call out bullshit. There were times that the few words that I got in were very argumentative because all I did was call him on his bullshit. And he didn't like it. And he tried talking to me like I was stupid. And I pretty much told him to go fuck himself. I was very nice because I don't want to lose an electrician. I need an electrician. I don't need a fucking date. I could probably use a date since my date on Saturday canceled on me. The really pretty linen dress with the little knot here, the halter one that came in the larger size, I ironed it. I was all ready for my date and he canceled. So they came back this weekend to do all that work. And I'm like, that's a lofty goal. That's a lot of work. How could you possibly change every outlet in the house, hang all my fixtures, turn all the switches right? Like, there was just, put the outlets in the barn. Like, there was just so much he was going to do. And he's like, as long as I don't run into any problems. I'm like, well, yeah, that just gave you the out because you know what happens in this house. Well, he didn't get nearly as much done as I expected, as he expected. Nor me. I mean, I expected him to get about half of it done. I don't really think anyone was listening to me because the things that I said were a priority didn't get done. And the stuff that I didn't give a fuck about is done. And I think it's because he was probably hungover. Because as soon as he got here, he walked through the front door and I just took a step back. I was like, I can't. I used to be a drinker, like a pretty big drinker. And I imagine that that's probably what I smelled like a couple of times when people were like, what did you do last night? I can't stomach the smell of alcohol oozing out of somebody's pores. I don't care if you drink in, you get a little obnoxious, you can even have a little alcohol breath, that's fine. But when it's seeping and oozing out of every pore and orifice of your body, I can't get near that. Like within 3 feet. So unfortunately, and now that I sort of like, I didn't take a step back, I just stopped flirting. We had that conversation for 2.5 hours. And then I sort of went back to like business. Now he's got a fucking attitude. Like he's obnoxious. Like I did something wrong. And I'm like, so do I have to be flirty with you to think that you still have a fucking chance? All of a sudden, I'm like, so what's going on? All of a sudden, he was nice again. I'm like, I'm not going to play this fucking game. I'm not going to pretend to like the guy so that he continues to be nice and do the work. I know he's going to do the work. He's just going to be a dick when he does it. I didn't do anything wrong. He got drunk on the phone and was a belligerent asshole. I feel like telling him, though, in a really nice way. Because he has a lot of potential and he's a really great... I mean, he owns this big construction company. He works on skyscrapers. This is going to be the only thing that gets in his way. And it's a shame. I mean, it's not my business. But it's sort of my business if you want to know why we don't hang out. Stitch, you got to stop. Anyway, and if you're watching the Macy's haul, this is a different Macy's haul. I got this tank top. Isn't it cute? I got this tank. Oh, I just hit my fucking knee. fucking hurt. Oh. I got it in pink and in black. Macy's Backstage, $3.98. I want to show you my bathroom because it's all painted. He hung 2 fixtures. Now I really need to get my fucking lampshades done. So those are up. And those are going to get copper fixtures that I'm working on. And I'll be able to show you one of them because he hung one of those fixtures over the kitchen sink, which has the copper fixture on it. That was not a priority. The pool table light was a priority. That's not done, and the kitchen sink light is. But I painted the bathroom. Doesn't it look pretty? Looks like toothpaste. Isn't it pretty? I painted one door. I have to do a second coat. This thing's coming off. Now that the lights are up, I can finish painting in here and fix this. This has to come off. And Anne, I gotta paint this fucking thing again. I swore after I showed you how to spray paint it, I wouldn't paint it again. That doesn't work. And then this is the project I'm working on for the shadow boxes with the wainscoting. And all my pieces are cut and I have to install them. Now I want to show you my chandelier from House of Tiffany. It's copper, hammered copper with crystals. We have to be so careful about how we hang it because it has a down. He's gonna make it like flush mount, but it has a down rod. I have 7-foot ceilings. It's a 52-inch ceiling fan. There's no down rod, so I'm gonna have it hung centered over the coffee table so I don't walk head first into it with my 8 head. So things are starting to come along. Things are still falling apart every day, but things are still starting to come along. I had a plumber come put a new bladder tank in, and I think he's going to get me what's called, that's a different story. I had the plumber come back. Let me show you the ceiling. Oops. Let me show you the ceiling fan, and then I'll get to that one. So this is just a piece of it. So this is the hammered copper that goes, I guess, at the bottom of it. This is the light fixture. It's heavy. So, I guess that doesn't go down there. It must go here. I don't know. Maybe that's, I'm not sure. But, isn't it pretty? So it's all hammered copper. And then the down rod is hammered copper. And the blades, I think, are just brown. They're like a brown wood grain, dark brown. And I got this at Home Depot. Online only. From House of Tiffany. Most of them run like $358 to $400, and for whatever reason, they all look very similar. There was one I liked a little more, but this one was $158. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna remember what the other one looks like. I'm not paying $358 if I can get one for like $168, $175, something like that. I got like the most reasonably priced one. I don't know why it is, because it's the same size. That's my ceiling fan. He's gonna put my range hood in. I'm going to take the microwave out, and he's going to put the range hood in for me. He's going to put my bathroom vent in for me. I decided I don't give a shit about being able to say I did all this myself. I don't have to do all this myself. I don't know how, and I don't want to. Not right now. I don't have time. And I can't keep calling my cousin in Colorado. I'm like, Casper, all this stuff is wrong. You know, he's trying to walk me through shit over the phone while I'm in a panic. I'm not listening when I'm in a panic. And he's so patient. I'm like, do I have to send you money? Because he's just so smart, and I don't want to take advantage of him. So, I wish he was coming to the barbecue. He can't make it. I was like, I'll buy you a plane ticket. Speaking of, I'm going to get to that. So I had the plumber come back. I thought something was leaking, and it wasn't. So it was the hose. But I've been running out of water. The last 3 or 4 days in a row, I have run out of water after watering my plants. And I know that I have to be more cautious with the water. I wasn't able to shower like 2 different nights, not in a row, but 2 different nights I couldn't shower unless I sat and waited for the bladder tank to fill back up. Because I'd rather be dirty than have my plants die. So I used the water for the plants. It's because of the drought. I mean, we're in such a heat wave and such a terrible drought. I'm getting 5 answers from 5 different people. But when I'm outside in the big, wide open sky, watering my plants, I gag at the smell of my water. Still, after shocking the well twice. and I'm outside watering plants from the top of the garage roof, shooting it down into the garden, and I can smell the water. It makes me retch. So I asked the plumber when he was here, I said, what can I do? I have to do something. I can't stomach it. It's disgusting. I don't want to This is a plumber. They deal in shit pipes, disgusting smells from drains. Nothing phases them. I don't know how they do what they do. He told me that he grew up on well water. He is immune to sulfur. He can't smell it anymore. He can't taste it anymore. He is completely immune to the smell of sulfur. It just doesn't faze him. And with that said, when he turned my water back on, he said my water punched him in the face. A plumber told me that my water punched him in the face. And for a minute, he was concerned that I had gray water backwash, that either shower or dishwasher, not leach field, but dry well, something he thought may have been backed up and seeping into the well water, and that I had contaminated water. I started to cry on the phone because he said the word septic, and I just started to fucking cry. But when I told him where the well was located and when the septic was located, he said, no, it's impossible. It's impossible. So he thinks it's not just sulfur. It's not just iron. He thinks it's manganese. On top of that, it's that rotting flesh smell. He knows I don't want salt and a water softener. So there is an oxygen injection filtration system that backwashes itself. It injects oxygen into the filter, and it forces the iron, the sulfur, and the manganese to like float up because the particles are so small, and it binds them, and it makes those particles bigger, and then they're captured in the filter. So it takes all the smell and everything out of the water. It's $2,500. I'm like, oh, now that you told me that, would it be inappropriate if I tell you I found one on Amazon for $1,000? I can hook it up myself? I don't know. So those are the things that are going on in the house. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the kitchen fixture, and then I'm going to share my great news. This is big news, and I'm not even giving you a build up that's going to like disappoint you, that like it's the anticipation's too much. My fixture, and hold on. I have the breaker off because I'm going to switch out the bathroom outlet. I have to get rid of these curtains. They're not mine. They were here and I left them. So this is the fixture with the copper shade that I made. And the Edison bulb is too big, but I don't have a smaller one. And then he's going to hang the red, white, and blue chandelier because that's what it looks like now. I have it painted and I cut the ceiling open and got it ready, but he's going to finish it because I done jacked it up. And what else? I'm going to switch the bathroom fixture myself because he pissed me off. Now that I know that the wires are grounded and I don't have to like check and recheck and triple check everything, I have the breaker off. I'm simply just going to swap out this fixture up there, and I can work on that. I can work on that lampshade. I have a few copper lampshades that are in process. I got additional ones. I'm trying round instead of dome. I keep buying fucking shades. I don't know what lamps, pendants I'm going to put them on. Anyhow, I just came back from the Billy Idol concert, and I didn't realize until 2 days ago that Joan Jett opened up for him. And I'm like, well, she wasn't like a bucket list concert, but when I heard that she was the opener, I was like, wow, I would like to see her. She was actually really good. She had more songs than I realized. I thought it was just going to be 2 or 3. Billy Idol was great. He was very good. He looks good. Looks really good. I'm only going to say it was a very, very good concert. I enjoyed it a lot, immensely. He put on a great show. But I just can't put him in the same caliber as the last two, Rod Stewart and AC/DC. Billy Idol was very cool. He did a great job. It was a really good show. But Rod Stewart was just out of this fucking world. And so was AC/DC. So, with that said, I now have outlets in the barn, but his assistant asked me where I wanted them, and I walked around and told him where I want them, and he kept arguing with me, and I said, are you going to ask me where I want them, or you just want to tell me what you're going to do with them? And he's like, no, I just think that you should put them up higher. I said, I don't want them up that high. It's too high. I said, put them in the middle, because I can plug my power tools in, and then if I don't have a power tool there, if I have something on the floor, at least I can reach the outlet. If you put it up any higher, I can't plug things in. So he did one of them that way. And then the other one is like, this one would look cool on the pole. I'm like, please don't put it on the pole. It's like sideways. He put it on the fucking pole. And then the last one, I told him to put up a little bit higher, and he put it all the way at the top. So now I'm like, either take him down and fix it, or I'm going to take them down myself. I'm fucking pissed. He cleaned up all my stuff, which I thought was the nicest thing. You cleaned up he put all my screws on the bathroom counter and you cleaned up the bathroom after your boss did the work, fine. But he really moved all my shit. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But then when I thought it was very nice of him, until I went out to the barn and I realized I had a pile of shit outside the barn door that I hadn't yet organized. And I'm like, why does that look like it was moved? He organized all my stuff. Don't clean up after me. This is my fucking house. Don't clean up after me. Especially if I walk in the barn and find that you moved my planer from against the wall out to the middle of the room. You moved my chop saw from the middle of the room all the way in front of the gate, the door to the chicken coop. And your shit that you did your work on is all over the fucking place. Don't dare clean up after me unless you clean up after yourself first. That planer is 60 pounds. I have to fucking move it again. He moved my compressor. I can't walk out there. Everything's in the middle of the room. I'm like, tell you what, before you come in the house and start cleaning my shit up, go clean your fucking mess up from your work and do your work right. Anyway, he's actually a really cool guy, but he pissed me off with that. The electrician's rates are really reasonable. I mean, for the level and caliber of electrician he is, $85 an hour, and that covers him and his assistant. Now, just because it's reasonable doesn't mean I'm not paying $500 a day to have him come here and do work. It's still not cheap. The rate's cheap, but the work itself is not. Do what I'm fucking asking. And don't be a dick about it because you called me drunk. Now, without any further ado, I don't even want to do a drum roll. This is fucking huge. We are taking a trip. Well, I am taking a trip, and I'm going to bring you guys with me, like I always do. And don't worry, this time I'm not going to expect anybody. I'm not even going to ask anybody to meet up with me because it would be nearly impossible. This is a bucket list extravaganza. My only question is, if I check off everything on my bucket list, does that mean I'm done here? Like I can go? I am legitimately going to sit down and I'm going to write a bucket list. I have a concert bucket list. I am going to write a bucket list because I'm crossing something off that has mentally been on it since I was a little girl. And I'm doing it. And I'm going to get a little... I booked a trip to the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is it's part of the British Crown, but it is an independently governed island right in the middle of the Irish Sea, equally located from 3 different countries. It is equally the same distance from Scotland as it is to Ireland, as it is to the UK. It was a Viking Norse country. So it's Manx. They have the Manx Celtic language, and I have always wanted to go there. And I'm going on September 6th. I'm going in less than 3 weeks. Now I have to find my passport. It was on the table in the other room, and I left it there for 3 months because I knew it was there and I didn't want to move it. And then when I cleaned up, I took it. I think I put it in the office, which is a shit show. So I have to find my passport. I got a round trip ticket. So I have to fly into Dublin. I could go to the UK, but been there, done that. I'm flying into Dublin, and you can take a ferry or a boat. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes on the ferry to get to the island. But after August, they don't run all the time. They say they run once a day, but some of them only run twice a week. And I was really struggling to get a ferry or a boat. And I wound up you can get a puddle jumper flight. So Aer Lingus is going to fly me from Dublin to the Isle of Man. And on the way back, I have to go back a day early because the flights are only available either after my flight takes off to go home or the day before. So I'm going to fly back on the 11th from the Isle of Man to Dublin on the 11th in the evening, 5 o'clock. I think I land. It's a 45-minute flight. And I'm going to stay in Dublin for the night. And I didn't give myself a lot of time in Dublin because It's probably a lot more expensive than the Isle of Man, and I have to get a hotel room for Dublin. But I'm going to have some dinner. I'll walk around. I'll have like the entire evening until the next morning. My flight takes off at either 10:30 or 11:30 from Dublin to Syracuse. Going, I fly out at like 7:30 in the morning from Syracuse to JFK. I arrive at JFK at 8:30 in the morning, and I have a 12 or 15-hour layover, a 12-hour layover. My flight doesn't leave JFK until 8:30 that night, and it arrives in Dublin the following morning at 8:30, I think. So I don't need a hotel room that night, but I will be sleeping over in JFK. Not quite, but 12 hours. I could leave and maybe walk around the city a little bit and see if anyone from Long Island wants to come pop in and say hello to me. No. Anyway, the reason the Isle of Man is so special and near and dear and important to me is because of my great-great-grandfather. And I may have mentioned him, and if I have, I apologize, but I'm going to repeat it anyway. My great-great-grandfather, I think someone had mentioned that he's considered like a national treasure in that country. The college is named after him. There are all kinds of websites on him and stuff. So I have his biography. The author of his biography, I was in touch with the author of his biography years ago when I wanted to take my daughters there. And at the time, the airfare was like $1,800 per person. And the kids were pretty young. And I couldn't afford to do it. And so I got a round trip ticket to Dublin for $507. It's going to cost me less than going to Nashville. I'm staying at a beautiful bed and breakfast in the capital city of the Isle of Man, which is called Douglas. The Alton House. Although I thought it was $244 for the week, and it was. That's euros. So it was $400. $900 and $500 to go from New York to Dublin, and $255 for Aer Lingus to take me 45 minutes from Dublin to the fucking Isle of Man. Fuck you, Aer Lingus. So my great-great-grandfather has a Wikipedia page. He has his own Wikipedia page. He did the survey for the Panama Canal. I mean, I don't know if that can be any more impressive than that. Yeah, my great-grandfather fucking did the survey for the Panama Canal. He also built the base of the Statue of Liberty. I did a book report on him when I was a little girl in school. He is the reason that warships are painted gray. He's the one that discovered that the gray paint doesn't oxidize and rust the ships, and it doesn't reflect the sun the same. So he's the reason that to this day warships are painted gray. And when he was in the Royal Navy, they needed someone to develop technology so that they could figure out how to hit a moving ship broadside in wartime. And my great-great-grandfather developed that technology. Unfortunately, the Royal Navy took it from him because he was their property at the time, so he didn't get any money for it, and he didn't own the rights to it. The Royal Navy took it, much like the Crown took the island. So it has changed hands from the Scottish, I think at one point the Irish. It's back with one of the British Crown. It's part of the British Crown. It was ruled by Vikings at one point. So my great-great-grandfather was the last original Manxman. And when I originally spoke to the author of his biography, he had said, I told him who I was, gave him my lineage, and he knew it already anyway, it's in the book. And he was like, wait, you're... I'm like, yeah. He emailed me back and he said, you're actually more Manx than your great-grandfather? And I was like, I don't know how that's possible, but I'm definitely going to ask him that when I see him. So the author of his biography, I reached out to him again. I apologize for not having made it down there. I said, but I am booked. If you happen to be available, I will be coming in. And he said, anything to meet a Kenish. And so the legacy or the lineage of William Kenish. And so I'm going to put the link to my great-grandfather's Wikipedia page in the comments if you guys are interested in reading about it. The author of his book is Robert Stimson, S-T-I-M, as in Mary, P-S-O-N. My great-grandfather was also a poet. He was a published author and poet. And he loved his homeland so very much that a lot of his poetry is written based on the Isle of Man and his Manx history. So Manx is one of the Celtic languages that was derived from partially Irish Celtic and partially Scottish Celtic and a little bit of, it's a mix. And it lost its use and its history for a long time. But I think back in the 80s or 90s, it started making a comeback, and now it's rich in history again, and they're trying to preserve it. And so they're working on that on the island. The college is named after him. I think I mentioned that though. Somebody had once told me they held a parade in his honor every year. I'm not really sure if that's the case. I wasn't necessarily the most reliable source that told me that, but I would love to hear that. That'd be really cool. I'm going to the Isle of Man on September 6th. And I think it's probably the biggest bucket list item that I could possibly come up with. And I can't tell you the sense of pride that I feel going there, thinking that, somebody in my family was so profound and had such an impact on history. And most people don't even know it, but I do. And so that's my big news. So I'm going to take you all to the Isle of Man with me. I guarantee you it's a place most of you probably won't ever get to visit anyway. I mean, most people, when I tell them, like, where the hell, what's the Isle of Man? Where's that? I'm so stoked. I have no words. And so I'm going to be there from the 6th. I arrive on the morning of the 7th in Dublin. So from the 7th until the afternoon of the 11th. And then I'll have a day in Dublin. That's my news. That is my news. I feel like I work the way I do. I'm gonna be broke, and I don't want to hear. Who wants to hear it? How can I be broke? I'm taking the trip was pretty reasonable considering. I don't care. I don't care if I'm broke. I don't care if I whine about it. I will figure it out. I couldn't put this off anymore. And I think one of the other reasons that it meant so much to me is because, excuse me, I thought I got it together. Excuse me. This coming Saturday on August 23rd, August 23rd is my anniversary with TJ, or what was my anniversary with TJ. We parted ways. If you guys remember back in last August, we parted ways on our anniversary and then went away to the Adirondacks for the weekend. It just happened to coincide that this particular anniversary, the following year after our engagement, fell on a Saturday, that we were going to get married on our anniversary. And so this next Saturday was the day I was supposed to get married. And that's one of the reasons I went to London last year. TJ's idea was I would plan the wedding and he would plan the honeymoon. And he knew I had always wanted to take a really long, fancy train ride, like sort of like Murder on the Orient Express, like that type of like train ride, like with cabin cars and dining cars and elegance, and like through Europe and like the mountainsides and whatever. And so he found a 14-day train ride that goes all through Europe. And it was going to go to Romania, Germany, Italy, England. It was going to go all these places. And it was going to end up, we could reverse it where we started in England or we ended in England. And he had it where he chose it where we would end in England, because he found out that you could take the ferry from England for 3 hours. You could take the ferry to the Isle of Man. And that was going to be like a surprise where on our honeymoon, we we're going to take a 2-week train ride and it was going to end at the Isle of Man. And I just thought that was one of the most touching things he ever could have offered or done for me, because he knew how special and important that was to me. And then when we decided not to get married and we decided to just be friends, which is fine. It's just, it's next week. So, it's gonna zing me a little. Not that I'm not getting married or not getting married to TJ. It's just that it's just a reminder that I'm almost 50 fucking years old. I'm starting all over again. It's about that. And so I went to London last year because the first thing I said to myself is, I don't need a honeymoon to go to London. I wanted to go. I've always wanted to go. He knew that. That's why he picked it. And I don't need a honeymoon. I don't need a man to take me to these places. I can do it on my own. It would be nice. It would have been nice if it was with someone else or for a honeymoon. Yeah, okay. that doesn't mean I can't go because I don't have that to go with me. So that's the reason I wanted to go to London last year. The Isle of Man has been I've been chomping at the bit to get there for many, many years. And when he put it on the table, it like renewed that sense of you always wanted to do it. And now, symbolically, we were supposed to get married this coming Saturday. And the following week, I'm going to go to the Isle of Man. And I'm going to the Isle of Man for my family, for my family's history, not for a honeymoon, and not because somebody was going to take me there. I work really hard, and I waste my money on a lot of stupid shit. And this time I feel like I'm spending it on something wise, important, sentimental, historical, and I'm very excited. But I might be a mess next Saturday because I don't know what to do with myself on that day. That's my news, and I cannot talk anymore because I'm not editing this. I'm just going to go fucking post it, and I don't know who's going to listen for 42 minutes. But, questions? Ask them. Comments? Make them. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. This is going to be an epic trip. It really is. It's gonna be great. And I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon. I'm the only person in any part of any part of my family ever that's making this trip. And I'm excited, and I'm glad it's me. I'm doing this. I did this for me. I did this for my grandfather. I was really, really close with my grandfather. My grandfather died the same January of the following year after my father died. So my father died 2 weeks after I turned 12, January of 88. My grandfather, who I was the apple of his eye, died 3 days after, in the following January, right after I turned 13. And I'm going to bring pictures of my family to show the author of the biography. And so, yeah, my family didn't make it there. I'm gonna. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Have a great night. And pack your bags, because we're going to the Isle of Man.